Good morning. I'm not sure whether I've done it live or not, or whether it's correct, or whether it's set up. Let me just have a look. I'll start off by introducing myself. Either way, it'll stay on this page, and you can all get to see this video as it starts to be shared out and everything like that. So for them that are watching, if you can like and share, Andrew's there. I haven't put any blocks on it, so it can be shared and it can go out there. So we'll start from now. So basically, good morning. My name is Dan McDevitt. I am the founder and the main coordinator of Veterans for Veterans. Just to give you an heads up, I am also, because I strongly believe in transparency, so I'm not going to blow smoke up any of his backsides and tell you lies and everything like that, because you will find out. I'm also the founder and one of the main leaders of Veterans Against Terrorism. So with regards to Veterans for Veterans, why did I set it up and what direction is it going in? Well, one of the main reasons why I set Veterans for Veterans up is, since I come out of the army, I was discharged from the 1st Battalion, the Queen's Lancashire Regiment, so I'm an ex-infanteer. I've always been part of the army. I was born into the army, raised in the army, and spent most of my juvenile life travelling the world, wherever my mum and dad was stationed. Both my parents are ex-military. So I have a strong military connection. So basically, I spent all that time growing up. I've been all over the world. I've lived in Cyprus, Lottering, Osnabrück, and all over the places. So when I come out of the army, it was a scary, scary, scary moment. And basically, being an infanteer, not many qualifications behind me, I thought that was it. I wondered where I was going to go. So I did my resettlement. Now, with regards to resettlement, I was lucky enough to pass all my courses. I got a job there, and within a short period of time, ended up being assistant senior instructor and then senior instructor of a large training organisation, which is where I concentrated on putting veterans into employment and using them as instructors and basically getting them into as much employment as I could throughout the group. As well as doing that, I have a stable yard and I've worked along with charities with horses and dogs with regards to PTSD. So, and they are animals that are beneficial to that. My current missus at the time, Vicky, she's very knowledgeable, and hopefully we're going to be doing a lot through the summer with regards to veterans, PTSD and natural horsemanship, as well as allowing the families to come to our premises. Basically bring your kids down and stuff like that and have a bit of a day out, and it's all going to be free of charge. So why Veterans for Veterans, and what's my vision for Veterans for Veterans, and where's it going? Well, first of all, as you can see, within 4 weeks, the actual statistics are 18,000 people. That's 18,000 veterans. Now, in the first couple of weeks, we did have a few people saying, but there's civvies in here. Yeah, they're not veterans. Well, to give you all that insight into it now, yes, there are civvies on there, but a lot of them people on there are parents from either military personnel that have been killed in operations, which are basically grieving their children. Yeah, so they've lost them children, and they want to have that connection with regards to the military. Yeah, they want to do something for their friends that they serve with on front lines. So there's them type of people in there. There's also some big company people in there that are civilians that basically give employment to veterans, yeah, ex-MOD and stuff. So that's why I work with them people as well, because my main concern is doing what we can for veterans, getting them out there, finding them the help they need, because basically the government, you sacrifice your life for the military, and then the government say they're going to do X, Y, Z, and there's not really a great deal in place for it, especially lads with regards to PTSD and other factions that may affect them. So 4 weeks ago we launched Veterans for Veterans. Already in that 4 week we've housed 3 veterans along with different organisations. Over 70 veterans have had job offers or found employment, and there's been over 300 what we class as menial tasks and services done for veterans. That's what's been achieved. Now, what might be a menial task in our eyes, because we all sit pretty or whatever like that, is not a menial task to them individuals, whether it be a little bit of help. I put a post on and I shared it throughout all the groups that I'm members with a lad that I serve with. His daughter went missing, and due to pages like this, she was found. I'm not going to mention his name, but hopefully we're going to currently move forward and help that family. So what's been going on behind the scenes? You've seen that I've been in the House of Lords, I've been in the House of Commons, and that's basically pushing things for veterans, not just with regards for Veterans, but with another group that I'm the founder of and leader of. And I always said I wasn't going to involve politics, so I'm not going to mention it at this point. Yeah, but they are backing us as well and helping me push things forward. So I'm not here to ram politics down your throat or what direction we're going with that, so I'll steer clear of it. So with regards to the homeless, I have a number of different businesses. I have my stable yard, a training company and a security company. And I employ only veterans. Yeah, they're not massive at the moment. There was at one time. I suffered a bit of a nasty breakup, but I'm getting back on track now. So I'll continue to put them veterans back into what other work I can and point it in the right direction. So basically where we're going with this and what we're doing, you might have seen that we've just rolled out a bus with regards to homeless veterans. So the plan is with that bus, I've gone into working with a group that I work with on the Veterans Against Terrorism side, known as the DFLA, which is the Democratic Football Lads Alliance. So basically, the reason for that being is they work in every city throughout this country. Every city throughout this country. They're a good bunch of lads. Some of you may look down on it and say, no, it's all football and this. Then that's your own opinion. But they are a massive asset. They've come up with some good ideas. We're working together and things are getting rolled out very, very quickly. For example, I had a bus sat around, a catering bus that I took in on trade. They come up with ideas, so we've gone into a partnership, and that bus will be rolled out at end of this month. It's going to actually be on a demo that they're doing on the 24th in Birmingham. The bus will be presented to them there, and then they're going to roll the bus out on the 24th. So for them that are interested, it's the DFLA, the Democratic Football Lads Alliance, on the 24th in Birmingham, and the bus will be there, and you can see what it's going to be doing. It will then be rolled out where one of the founders of the DFLA is going to get a celebrity chef to work in it and get the publicity for it. So, and that will be down in the London area. We'll also be rolling out another 4 buses, which are going to be kitted out in the northwest up here where I live, and then we're going to put them out into other towns. And I appreciate all the help and everything that I'm getting from my fellow veterans and what we can do for the homeless. So that bus is going to be going out on nights, days, in cities. It's going to be providing somewhere dry and warm for veterans to eat, be given clothing and the necessities that they need with regards to cleaning, getting cleaned up and stuff like that, i.e. because there's no showers, so they'll be given toiletries and everything else like that. But we can't just concentrate on them, so we are going to do it for homeless people as well in general. And when they're there on the bus and they're working with these volunteers, they're going to be pointed in the right direction to where to get help from, whether it be with alcoholism, drug abuse, PTSD and other things. We aren't specialists in this, and we're not going to claim to be specialists in this, but over the time that since I founded Veterans for Veterans, we've been working alongside a lot of organisations and other connections to make sure that people are getting the right help. And to give you some more idea where this is going, on the 21st and 22nd of June, I will be doing what's known as a sleepover. So what I'm basically going to be doing, and some of you may, you know, have a do at me for this, saying it's summer and stuff like that, then that's up to you. But I'm going to be sleeping on the streets with exactly what these veterans have. I'm going to do it outside Westminster. I'm pulling strings with lords and politicians to make sure I get cleared to be there, and basically get all of the national tabloids involved to really start pushing this home now and putting some pressure on the government, because I'm not interested what government's in place. All I want is the right thing to be done by them. So it's called the sleepover. Them that want to join me, then feel free to join me. The bus will be down there as well, or perhaps a few of the buses, and a few other connections that I've made, like vans with lights that are having the Veterans for Veterans sticker put on them with Steve. There's a lot of people coming forward and giving a lot of help in the right direction. At this point, we're not taking any money. All we want is clothing, socks, underwear, deodorant, hand gel, toothpaste, toothbrushes, sleeping bags, wet weather gear and stuff like that. Now, it's hard to get this stuff out to all these people, so what we're doing is we're talking to the Royal British Legion, because the Royal British Legion have suffered now for some time due to a lot of these big charities taking a lot of stuff away from them. So we're in process of talking to them, see if we can use their facilities where people can donate stuff there, and we can basically put it out to where it's needed with regards to homeless. We're also going to be doing it with breakfast clubs, hopefully. So that's with regards to the homeless side and everything else. Another thing I want to add on the homeless side now, and this ties into something else that we're working on, is I got contacted by a fella called Norman. Now, Norman's obviously a veteran. He has big ambitions and big dreams, and in my personal view, he's on totally the right track. Now, he runs a group called Bring Sir John Moore's Barracks Back to Life. Now, what he's trying to do is get these barracks done there, and there's some new houses going to be built on them, and they'll go for veterans. But earlier this week, he contacted me, and this is why I've been a bit quiet on the internet and everything, and I've had the permission of this person, so I am going to mention his name and tell you a bit about his story. But before I do that, mention that, I'm just going to talk a little bit about another charity called Care After Combat. Now, Care After Combat, I knew it was run by Jim Davidson, and I've looked into it, and he doesn't get paid massive royalties like he does and everything else like that, and it's not one of these company charities that lines its own pockets. And what they do is they work with veterans in prisons. So, and it's something that I've been looking for as well. I want to get involved with the prison side for veterans, because a lot of veterans end up in prison for the simple reason being, one, they haven't been looked after enough when they've left, and then two, they struggle and end up inside through little mistakes. So, or perhaps sometimes big mistakes, but I'm not interested in what they've done in the past. What I'm interested in is that they're a veteran, and basically why I set this up is we need to stand together. You hear a lot of these veterans saying, oh, we're in a brotherhood, or we do this, or we do that, but the proof is in the pudding. I want this framework and this group to work like the Freemasons, where if there's a veteran in need, we help him, we do something for him, and then you do it for a favour or at cost. So back to Care After Combat. They're working in the prisons. They do a pre-release. They make sure they've got somewhere to live and everything, and then they come out and they work with a mentor. But what they're struggling with is mentors. So they need mentors in these different areas to sign up, and all it is 6 days, well, 6 half days of a year where you go and speak. I lost my signal there. Where you go and speak to a fellow veteran and you help point him in the right direction. And what they do is they marry you up. So if the veteran that's in prison is an infanteer, they'll try to put an infanteer with him. If you're REME, they'll try to put REME with you. And that's what they work, and they do a fantastic job from the research I've done. So this is where this story comes to light. Earlier this week, Norman contacted me and asked me if I could help with a young lad called James Moore. Now, James Moore was a serving soldier. He was with the REME, and he come out of the army. As do we all, and I've been there exactly where he was, but luckily enough I didn't get sent to prison. He was out with one of his friends. They got into an altercation. He backed one of his friends up, as we would do. We all back each other up. We all have each other's backs. And stopped his mate from getting a good beating. Now, in his eyes, that finished. It was done. So they carried on having a drink. Later on that night, he went home. At 3 o'clock in the morning, his door come through by the people that he had the altercation with. And there was 5 or 6 of them. They come through the door, give him a beating, so he went to defend himself, grabbed the nearest thing to him, which happened to be a kitchen knife, and he stabbed one of his attackers. He ended up sentenced to 6 years in prison. So just as I would do, or just as any of you would do, I'm sure, first of all, he's looked after his pal. He's resolved the situation, but then they come back for more. So they come into his own house and then he defends himself. Anyway, he ends up with 6 years in prison. He's since been out of prison. Now, when he got out, he went to stay somewhere near his nan's. So he had accommodation and he was working with his probation and basically struggling on by. There was an altercation at this family friend's house, so he had to leave that house. He didn't want to be triggered and put back in that scenario and falling back into crime and ending up back in prison. So he left it and he's been homeless since. But in that time, what he's done is he's used his initiative. He's got himself a job, not the best paid job, but he's got himself a job working nights. So he's got somewhere warm and he can get on the internet on a night, which is on minimal wage. But he's actually struggling and he is homeless at the minute. So I spoke to James Moore personally, and I got in touch with Wendy from Care After Combat. Now, over the last 2 days, it's moved forward dramatically. All right, the problem's not solved yet, but it's well on its way to being solved. And hopefully then, once James has got himself some accommodation, us on here can find him a better job. I've got very strong links with Haulage Association and some big big companies, should I say, that I know back veterans, Eddie Stobart and people like that. So what I'm basically looking for is I'm after a mentor that can work alongside Care After Combat and James Moore with help fill his paperwork in, make sure he's on the right lines, and basically put him back on track. He's not an idiot. Yeah, at the end of the day, he's a veteran. He's got his head screwed on about him, and he's trying his best to move forward. He just needs that little bit of help. With regards to the rest of Veterans for Veterans, it's just growing and growing and growing. And like I've said before, the amount of help that people have achieved or received or given is purely down to yourselves. Whether it be the menial task, I'll just mention somebody else now, Danny Foster. I served with Danny Foster, cracking young lad. He now does all the close protection overseas, we'll just say. And his son had an accident and was put in an induced coma. He was flown back from where he was working on operations with his close protection company and was stuck. So it got put on there. Within 15-20 minutes, another lad said, I'll pick you up from the airport, get you to the hospital and everything else like that. And the problem was solved. And he actually got there before his son was brought out of the coma. So just things like that, it helps dramatically. To some people that don't have anything, the things that are being achieved and what's happening is astronomical, and all it's going to do is grow and grow and grow. Now, we've got big plans for veterans. I'd like to class myself as a dreamer, and some of my pals may say I am a dreamer. So what we've done is I've utilised my admin team from my other groups, and we've delegated different areas for them to work on. So myself and Sean Smart have been working on the housing side, and also working on the side with the DFLA for them to go out and get housing and help the homeless, give them warm clothing and such like. So what we're doing with regards to the housing side, well, Sean Smart, I'm a strong believer in credit where credit's due. I'm not going to take credit for this. This is purely on Sean Smart's head. Sean Smart has landed us a contract with a building supplier that will provide us with every building material ranging from pipes to sinks to bathrooms, kitchens and everything at cost. No profit at all, nothing. And they will give us that nationwide. So what we're doing now is we're speaking to investors that are looking to buy properties for veterans. So the investor buys the property, a derelict property. Between us, we've got all the skills and the trademarks to re-renovate that property. So, and now we've got the materials and everything coming in at cost, which helps dramatically. So once it's done, what happens then is the veteran moves into the house. We sort his paperwork out and everything, and he then basically has that paid for. Yeah, because obviously investors, they do want something back. They can only write so much off. So this is how it works. The investor buys the property, as I've said. We do it up. The veteran goes in it. The veteran then, once he's in, we can then concentrate on networking between us, and we can sort his job out. After a period of time, that investor is going to give that veteran the opportunity to buy that house off them at cost. Yeah, you can't ask fairer than that, right? There are a lot of properties around the UK that can have this done. We've got the framework, everything's in place, and that's what we're looking to roll out for veterans. Yeah, I'm just going to mention something else there. There's Hull for Heroes. Now, Hull for Heroes, they're doing a veterans village on veterans where they can grow their own resources and stuff like that. So that's another campaign that if people want to look at would be worthwhile. There's other things as well that I'm planning to do for veterans. There's little loopholes and stuff like that since I've been in the House of Lords and in Parliament that I've found. And I'm going to utilise them loopholes for veterans. And some of them loopholes is basically bringing the upper class to the working class. And I'm not just going to offer it to veterans. Veterans will have a massive discount on it. And when I'm talking massive discounts, I'm not talking 50%. I'm talking you will be paying around 35 to 40% of what you would normally be paying. And that's what we're after providing for you. The civilians then, they'll be offered the same stuff, but they're just going to pay that little bit more. But it will be cheaper than anywhere in the country and that's what else we're looking at rolling out. So that's just to give you a brief insight on what's happening with Veterans for Veterans, who we're working with, and how we're pushing things forward. All I can ask for yourselves to do is please just share. Please add your friends to it. Ask their permission first. I mean, all the groups that I run, there's 2 groups that are sorted out. They was all started and born from the 1st Battalion, the Queen's Lancashire Regiment. And that's how I started it. Between my 700 muckers that I have there that I've served with and everything else in Northern Ireland, Bosnia and all that, they spread the word out and them groups grew from that. These 18,000 people on here in 4 weeks grew from them lads. So I am going to give them credit where credit's due because they got it out there and shared it. But the last piece of information I'm going to do just before I have a recap is give credit where credit's due. And that's to yourselves. Yeah. It's not all about one person sat behind a TV here talking to people and bullshitting them and everything else like that, because it's not bullshit, this. The proof is in the pudding. We are joining forces and we are looking after ourselves. Yeah. I'm not interested whether you've served a year and been kicked out for smoking puff, or whether you've done 22 years, right, and reached the dizzy heights of W01, or perhaps gone on to commission. Yeah. As long as we all tie together and work together, that's all I'm bothered about. Now, end of the day, we're veterans. Yeah. Them that have done half-time like I did myself, or have gone on, yeah, to serve so many years, we need to look after each other and we need to have each other's backs, and that's what this is about. And it will move forward, it will grow, and the more veterans we can help, the better. And especially them that are homeless and them that are coming out of prison, yeah, they're people I want to concentrate on. I'm not going to look down on them, because, and if any of you meet me when we're out on rallies with Veterans Against Terrorism or one of these stuff, I'm no better than anybody else. I've just come up with an idea, yeah, and I'll accept constructive criticism. I'll accept help and advice to move things forward, as long as it is beneficial to what we're after achieving. And that's why I've put together a committee, and in that committee now, between the 3 different groups, there's over 70, 80 people, if not more. And then if you involved the Democratic Football Lads Alliance, you're looking at 150 people that all sit round every so often, whether it be once a month, 3 months, and throw ideas around and put together things that are benefit veterans and that are moving forward. So just to recap, I do need somebody in Northampton to basically act as a mentor, yeah, in helping James Moore with moving forward, yeah, through Care After Combat with Wendy. And I'm also just going to reiterate them people like Norman, yeah, that are really pushing and helping for homeless vets, and basically everybody else out there that's running through. So remember the sleepover on the 21st and 22nd of June. If any of you live in the northwest and want to come and spend some time with the horses during the summer holidays with your kids and stuff, then please feel free to call on us, especially the lads that have got PTSD. If you're working with a charity or a company, bring them along with you as well, and I'll give you some demos, yeah? And I'll actually get in you doing stuff after an hour, and you'll think, no way. It does work. I think that's what keeps me sane, to be fair. So that's just basically a brief insight what we are. It's not so brief looking at the time, and what we're on with. So to finish off, thank you very much for your support. Keep sharing, keep putting it out there, and if you can do a bit for a veteran, I'm not interested whether you're from the same corps, yeah? I mean, like, you get infantry and then you get rock apes that want to be infantry. Bit of a joke for you there. We need to be there for each other, whether you're Army, Air Force, Navy, infantry, Marines, SAS, I'm not bothered. Male, female, yeah, it's about looking after each other. All right, I hope you all have a really good weekend. Thank you very much for watching. Be safe and just let's... So, thank you very much for your time. Have a good weekend. Enjoy.